Hello friends, information is still coming out confirming rumours that we have already anticipated. Opinion article: General McInerney confirms rumours. Confirm the seizure of the servers. It also reveals the death of 5 soldiers. What used to be considered a hoax is no longer a hoax. General Flynn speaks of a coup d'etat. President sees possible involvement of officials. The Kraken is the 305 Military Intelligence Battalion. 7,000 cybernetic teams investigate the elections. Judge allows erasure of the election machines in Georgia. The large aircraft carrier USS Nimitz heads for the Persian Gulf. 100 police officers injured in protest in France. Gold fever causes serious economic problems in Turkey. The mysterious Utah monolith disappears and they find the message: if the Democratic candidate wins, forget about political change in Spain. 73 retired military commanders accused the government of threatening national unity in Spain. Let's start. Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney has confirmed in an interview with the WVW radio network that special forces attacked the server farm in Germany. He also revealed that 5 soldiers died in the server seizure operation and that the servers were secured. An impressive testimony. Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney stated that his sources have told him that special forces, possibly the notorious Delta Force, raided the server farm in Frankfurt, Germany. 5 soldiers perished in the ensuing firefight, as well as the CIA paramilitary. Agency personnel were allegedly brought in from Afghanistan for security reasons, according to reports. A subsequent review of the security server provided evidence that China, Iran and Russia were involved in the attempted coup against the president, which will be shown to have won an overwhelming victory for the American people, McInerney revealed. These people have committed treason, McInerney said. He also pleaded with the president not to leave office until the treason was discovered. Otherwise, America would be thoroughly wounded and ready to be taken over by our enemies. The Kraken is also a reference to the 305 Military Intelligence Battalion based at Fort Huachuca, Arizona, revealed Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney. McInerney also stated that he believes the president knew that electoral theft was coming, hence his executive order issued to sanction interference by foreign powers in these elections. In addition, reports are now circulating that General Flynn is involved in helping President with a private intelligence operation. About the agency's secret surveillance program called Operation Coboard, McInerney had stated that it was a program developed for the Obama administration, which worked with the same voting system and could manipulate elections. It helped Obama in 2012 and was supposed to help Mrs. Hillary in 2016, but Trump exceeded the established algorithm, and he did this time too. We don't know if the elderly Democratic candidate has sprained his ankle as happened to Miss Hillary, or if he has been fitted with an electronic ankle bracelet for location purposes. General McInerney said that the Hammer program has been used over the past 20 years to manipulate elections in other nations, but that it turns against us in this election. He added that because of the allegations, The Constitution obliges the President not to leave the White House until the election result is officially determined. General McInerney said that evidence that election officials in the 5 battleground states worked together to manipulate the vote. Election officials are getting nervous about accusations of treason that could be brought against them and are coming out to confess their involvement in this anomalous election. Some people working for this voting system have disappeared, which may indicate they are in hiding or have been taken for a ride to Cuba on one of the special operation planes. I heard that there are more than 7,000 cyber teams involved in the investigation of this crime. The question is, are they military or civilian assets? Either way, they are most likely flying in a combination of commercial and military aircraft. Coup d'etat. General Michael Flynn said that there is still a coup d'etat underway against the president in his first public speech since his pardon. They have improved their tactics, Flynn said, offsetting Democratic Party figures, adding that the political formation was Democratic in name only. Since this shift to the left, then they lost in 2016, the decision was made to say, "We are not going to allow this to happen again," Flynn said, referring to the Democratic Party leadership. He then pointed to the increasing political divide during the 4 years of Trump's presidency, during which the mainstream media, along with what he described as the Democratic Socialist Party of America, have been trying to oust the president from the White House. I think what we experienced over the last 4 years, and certainly in the late 2016 and early 2017, was a very thorough plan to oust a duly elected president, Flynn said. He said that Mr. Donald Trump, as an outsider from New York, faced an unprecedented attack of political, technological, and also financial pressure at the beginning of this term to force him out of politics. On Wednesday, November 25th, General Flynn was pardoned and placed in charge of supervising the execution of high-level arrests. Since then, military rendition flights for arrests and interrogations have increased to 5 to 6 times daily in preparation for possible violence from extremist protesters. Accusation by the President. The President sees possible involvement of the FBI and the Department of Justice in the election rigging. He again described past election in his country as fraudulent and admitted that FBI and Justice Department officials could be involved in the violations. A total fraud. I don't know about the FBI and the Justice Department. They may be involved. How did they get away with it? He said in an interview with Fox News. The President stressed that everyone is watching and no one can believe what happened, because, in his opinion, the elections were rigged. According to the President, from a victory with a big lead on election night, his situation turned into a failure with a small difference in votes. He noted that the FBI is doing a good job, but in a situation as important as the election, they remained inactive. Where are they? I don't see anyone. They are just moving towards the next president, he said. The US later said that with all the fraud was going on, nobody came to see me to say that the FBI was investigating the situation. The president says that he got 74 million votes before the ballots were cast in his favor, and that he will use 125% of his energy to demonstrate this trap. To do this, I need a judge who is willing to hear a case and I need a Supreme Court that is willing to make a really important decision. However, the President acknowledged that the problem is that it's very difficult to get into the Supreme Court to overturn the outcome of the election, he said on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures, after the presenter Maria Bartiromo asked him when he expected his allegiance to reach the judges. I have the best Supreme Court advocates, he added, who want to defend the case if it gets there. Trump said their cases, which legal experts have described it as implausible, should reach the Supreme Court, but he did not predict that they would. On December 14, on Thursday, the President said for the first time that he will leave the White House if the Electoral College votes for the Democrat. Voters will cast their votes on December 14th. The President and his campaign have pressed the courts across the country to delay certification of the election results, arguing that the race was marred by widespread fraud. More than 24 cases filed by Republican interests challenging the voting and counting processes have been denied, dismissed, or withdrawn, according to NBC News recount. The votes of 4 of the 9 Supreme Court justices are required to agree to hear a case, and a majority is required to issue a decision. The President appointed there of the court's judges to the position, though the judges do not always rule in favor of the President who appointed them. Judges Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, both appointed by the President, have sided with the President in the past. Before the election, the President has predicted that the race would eventually be decided by the Supreme Court, and he pushed for the judge Amy Coney Barrett to be confirmed on the court early. The Democrats pressed for Barrett to recuse herself from any dispute related to the race, although she refused to commit to doing so. Unusual court order. Judge prohibits erasure of or reset of election machine in Georgia, then revokes order. A federal judge presiding over a major elections lawsuit in Georgia issued an order Sunday ordering the state to cease and desist for cleaning or erasing election machines, then revoked the order. The judge revoked the order shortly thereafter, explaining that the defendants are not in possession of the machines. The judge changed the course stood by Lynn Wood, a lawyer connected to the campaign. The judge revoked the order based on the defendant's claim that the counties control the voting machines. Wood wrote on Twitter adding that the machines are state property and that Georgia's Secretary of State administers the election. Why are officials determined to clean up these machines by resetting them? Periodic Gulf. The Nimitz is heading for the Persian Gulf. The nuclear-powered aircraft carrier USS Nimitz and its attack group are in transit to the Persian Gulf, where they will supervise the withdrawal ordered by the President of up to 5,000 US soldiers from the region in the coming weeks and months. This is part of the belated efforts to drastically reduce the US presence in Iraq and Afghanistan and bring the troops home. The carrier group will provide defensive capabilities in the midst of a large-scale logistic operation. Although deployed ahead of the dramatic events of recent date that have seen growing tensions between Iran, Israel, and the US over the high-profile assassination of Iran's leading nuclear scientist Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, the deployment comes at a time when Iran and Israel are on high alert on the war path. Crisis in Turkey. Gold fever has become a source of serious economic problems in Turkey. The Turkish lira crisis, which has been depreciating during the last year, has pushed the citizens of the Ottoman country to buy gold at a record pace. Now their high appetite for this metal is threatening the national currency even more. Moreover, Turkish citizens have not been the only ones to buy bullion. The central banks of Ottoman country also continues to accumulate gold reserves, which reached at all-time high in October. In 2020, the Turkish lira has lost 25% of its value and has become the second national currency to show the worst performance in emerging markets, only behind the Argentine peso. Protest in France. Nearly 100 police and gendarmes injured in French protests. French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin stated that according to the final count, 98 police and gendarmes were injured in the demonstration that took place in the country on November 28th. BFM-TV reported, quoting the French Ministry of the Interior, that over 130,000 people took part in Saturday protests, some 46,000 of them in Paris. The peaceful demonstration in the French capital led to riots and clashes with police. The police, for their part, were forced to respond with tear gas to disperse the crowd, as well as to use water cannon against demonstrators in the Parisian Bastille Square. The demonstrators protested on Saturday against Article 24 of the Global Security Bill passed last week by the French National Assembly, lower house of Parliament, which provides for a fine or a year's imprisonment for disseminating or an image of a person or other identifying features of a police officer or gendarme while on duty, in order to attack the physical or mental integrity of the officer. The law sparked strong criticism for journalists who fear they will be banned from filming or photographing police action during protest, restricting media freedom of expression. Spain. 73 retired military commanders accused the government of threatening Spanish territorial integrity in a letter to the king. The signatories, practically half of the members of the 23rd class of the General Military Academy, who are still alive, show their loyalty to the monarch when Spain, they claim, is experiencing a situation of deterioration. A total of 33 retired commanders of the Spanish army have sent a letter to King Philip VI. In the letter, the former members of the military state that Spain is experiencing a deterioration and accuse the coalition government of jeopardizing national unity. The signatories are practically half of the members of the 23rd class of the General Military Academy who are still alive, according to the newspaper El País. They range for a lieutenant general like José María Fernández Bastarreche to brigadier generals like Pedro María Andreu, who was in charge of the Special Operations Command when the attack on the Persian islet took place in 2002. In the letter addressed to the monarch, the commanders of the land army conveyed their support and loyalty to him in these difficult moments for the country, and blamed the social communist executive for threatening the decomposition of the national unity. The letter comes a few days after retired Air Force chiefs sent a similar letter to the king in which they warned of the annihilation of democracy and listed a number of concerns such as the harassment of the judiciary and relations between the executive and certain political parties which, having declared their compliance with the Constitution, are the legacy of terrorist gangs who have committed murders. If the Democratic candidate wins, forget about the political change in Spain. What is being settled in recent weeks is not only the name of the future president of the most powerful country in the world so far, but also the political and social future of a large part of the world's countries, including Spain. And all this is not only because the evident globalist harmony between Mr. Sanchez and Mr. Biden for following orders for the same master, but also because of the scandalous electoral process that would have led the Democratic candidate to occupy the Oval Office of the White House in the event of that hypothetical victory. Trump's victory will not only bring a clean-up in future US elections, but also in most of the countries in which the recent electoral processes have been more than dubious, as in the case of Spain. Disappearance. The mysterious monolith of Utah disappears. At the moment, it's not known who removed the structure, nor has its origin been confirmed. The famous metal structure that was recently found in the middle of the Utah desert has disappeared this weekend. The State Bureau of Land Management has confirmed a number of credible reports that the monolith no longer exists. The object was reportedly stolen during the night of Friday, November 27th. The first reports were announced through social networks by hikers who visited the site but found nothing upon arrival. However, the imagination about the origin of this mysterious object led the explorers to suppose that the brilliant structure returned to its rightful owners, the aliens. The young user of Instagram, Ricardo Marino, said that shortly before arriving they saw a truck carrying a large object tied to the platform, with the hatch open, and now they suspect that it was the famous monolith. Meanwhile, someone installed some small stones marking the spot where the 3-meter-high pillar lay. And as the hour have passed, people have continued to pile more rocks, creating a comfort for those who have made the effort to get there. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot for your patience.